On today's show, we're going to react to what Bill Simmons said about the Miami Heat as the Heat are 3-4 after another close, tough loss against a good team against the Phoenix Suns on Wednesday night. Simmons said that the Miami Heat's window to win in the NBA is closed. Is it true? Do I agree? And plus, we'll talk about if the Heat have to move on from someone in their starting lineup. But I want to know your thoughts on the matter before I tell you what Simmons said and give you my opinion. Is the Miami Heat window closed to win an NBA title with this core? Type Y for yes or type N for no. Today's pinned comment. Don't be biased. Go answer it down in the comment section. All right, let's get over to what Bill Simmons said on the Bill Simmons podcast, saying that I believe it's over for these guys. I think the league is better, and they stayed the same. They just seem like they missed their window, which is a great window, by the way. Butler's 35. They put a lot of eggs in the Jovic basket. I'm just not seeing it. And you might wonder what my opinion is on the matter. I couldn't agree more. The Heat's window is closed. To be honest, it's been closed for a while now, and I think it's just been masked by the Linsanity run Miami had in 2023 when they made the NBA Finals as an 8 seed. Realistically, it's been closed since 2022 when they were the top seed in the Eastern Conference and failed to make the finals and lost to the Celtics at home in Game 7. Because I will go to my grave saying that team was talented enough, even though Hero was banged up a little bit. But Jimmy was playing good ball. Bam was good. Lowry and PJ Tucker year one with Miami. Hero was in a six-man role, excelling, even though he was a little bit injured. If they were able to get by Boston, I think they would have beat the Golden State Warriors in 2022 and won the NBA Finals. I feel like that was the year that Miami really botched their opportunity to win a championship in the Butler build. Everything after that has just been not good basketball in the regular season, masked by one lucky playoff run. And when you look specifically at this season, it's very obvious that this team has a lot of issues. And this is a startling number and startling difference that I wanted to bring up on the show. In the first halves of games this season, the Miami Heat look like an NBA Finals caliber team. They have the fifth best offense in the NBA in the first 24 minutes and the eighth ranked defense. But in the final 24 minutes of basketball games, they are the worst offensive team in basketball, and they are a bottom 10 defensive team. I don't know what happens at halftime. Are they smoking cigarettes and partying, drinking champagne? What is the difference between the first half and the second half? And you can look at these numbers and come away with two different takeaways if we're going to be honest. There's one takeaway where if you're an optimistic person, you can say, well, the Miami Heat are really close to being an elite basketball team. You can see it right there. If they just were able to be an average team in the second half rather than a bottom 5 team in the NBA in the final 24 minutes, they can be unbelievable with how good they are in the first half. Or you can look at the way I'm going to look at it, be a little bit pessimistic and maybe realistic is the right word to use there, because the Heat have had second half issues for 2+ years now. Last year, they had an okay third quarter margin, but they were terrible in the fourth quarter. This year, it's been horrific third quarters. And then yesterday, of course, against the Suns, they were okay in the third quarter, split the quarter 29-29 with Phoenix, but then got outscored by 6 in the final frame by Kevin Durant and the Suns. It is never the same issue with Miami. There is always something new that is bothering the Miami Heat. But one thing that is not new is that something is always going wrong in the second half with a Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo-led team. And there was a point made in that quote by Bill Simmons that said that other teams around the league have upgraded and Miami have not. He is right about that as well. Look at over the past 3 seasons and look at the changes some of these teams have made. The Thunder have went out and got Isaiah Hartenstein. They went out and traded for Alex Caruso after being the number 1 team in the West and coming up short in the second round of the playoffs. They did not rest on their laurels and just hope their young talent took another step. They are banking on them taking another step, but they went and added big-time pieces. The Celtics, we know that they did with Derek White, Drew Holiday, Porzingis. The Knicks, not off to a rough start, but they have at least made moves to try to improve that roster in Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby, and Karl-Anthony Towns. Phoenix got out Bradley Beal and Kevin Durant to help out Devin Booker, and the Dallas Mavericks added Kyrie to Luka Doncic, but also went out and traded for P.J. Washington, signed Klay Thompson. They are making moves to try to get better. The Miami Heat have not attempted to get better. You can say they were linked to Damian Lillard. They were in that Dame sweepstakes, and they've been linked to other players like Donovan Mitchell and Kevin Durant, but there has not been an actual move made that has upgraded this team. The only move they made over the past 3 seasons to try to really change this roster and upgrade is trading for Terry Rozier. And to this point, that has been an absolute failure by Pat Riley and the Miami Heat. The run it back mantra in this organization has killed this team. And every year they say, we're not running it back. We've just been injured. We've got to get this team fully healthy and see what they can do. I know it's only been 7 games, but you've practically been fully healthy with your main group of guys. I know Hawkes has been out a couple of games and Kevin Love's been out, but those aren't needle movers, guys. Like, we're talking about the core 4, the core 5 on this roster being together, being healthy, and they have looked absolutely horrible together through the first 7 games. You need to make a change, and this window is likely over because I do not see Miami beating New York, Cleveland, honestly, at this point, or Boston in a playoff series in the Eastern Conference, let alone if they somehow made it to the finals and had to get matched up against the Thunder or some other good team like Dallas. I don't think Miami would stand a chance. We're still not going to go anywhere, though. We're staying here, dropping daily content on the Miami Heat, still going live for almost every single game. Every game during the week will be live. We're dropping videos and content in between those ball games. So hit that sub button. We're 130 away from 15K. Let's get there ASAP. Another reason why the Heat's kind of window here may be closed is because how bad Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo have been this season. And it's actually really embarrassing and it's really concerning. More on Bam Adebayo than it is Jimmy Butler because we know this is what Jimmy is. It's unfortunate and it's annoying and we've complained about it and why I think it's in the best interest of Miami to trade Jimmy Butler at the deadline if you continue to be 500 and or do not bring him back in the offseason if he opts out of his contract because he simply does not give you the effort that is required to be a good team in the regular season as a lead option. He doesn't give you enough effort. But the man on the right of your screen is the more concerning point here. Bam Adebayo, the person you believe is your franchise player, we thought was the 3rd best center in the NBA and an ascending top 20 player in the entire association. He has been absolutely fucking horrible. And it's the only way to explain what Bam's doing. He is an NBA center shooting 39.8% from the field. You know how bad you have to be to shoot that low of a percentage from the field as a center. I know he's trying to incorporate a 3-point shot, but he's still only taking 3 a game. That should not take his average from the field from mid-50s to 39.8. That cannot happen. You will never be a good team when your 2 players shoot as infrequent as they do in big-time games and shoot as inefficient as they do so far this season. They get outplayed by opposing team stars every single night. That's the reason why you lost to Orlando. Banchero dominated you, outplayed Jimmy and Bam. Kevin Durant and Devin Booker outplayed Jimmy and Bam. Karl-Anthony Towns outplayed Bam and Jimmy in that game. What happened? Sabonis, Fox, DeMar DeRozan outplayed Jimmy and Bam. Those 2 have cost you every single game against a good team. They love to show up against the bad teams. They love it. They love the stat pad and make everything look all right. When you play bottom 5 teams in the East, sure, this team looks competent. But as soon as you go up against some real competitors and real dogs right now in the regular season, your 2 dogs shrivel up like puppies. It's an absolute joke what these 2 have brought to the table, and you're wasting Tyler Hero, who's been off to an all-star caliber start this season, shooting 46% from 3, 50% from the field, and averaging 23 a game. Shout out Tyler Hero because he's been sensational. He's the only one bringing on a nightly basis for this basketball team, and I'm sick of the Heat letting him down. Coming up in just a second, we're going to talk about if it's time to give up on Nikola Jovic. Simmons mentioned how much that they've put eggs in that basket and has not paid dividends to this point in the season in this 3rd year of Jovic. We'll talk more about that in just a second. But we are sponsored by DraftKings, the #1 sportsbook and casino out there, and we are so happy that they are sponsoring the Heat Report. The NBA is finally back. A new season means new ways to get into the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. Who's draining threes from beyond the arc? Who's crashing the boards and grabbing rebounds? Get behind your favorite players and the prop bets you can make on DraftKings, the home of NBA player props. First time, new DraftKings customers bet $5, get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Every point counts with DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code HEATCHAT. That's code HEATCHAT for new customers. Get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in New Hampshire, Oregon, and Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gambling resources, see dkng.co/bball. And DraftKings allows you to play so many different ways. You can play any type of sport you want, but specifically with the NBA, you can go straight bets, parlays, player props, lines, over-unders. Today, I've got 3 different player props in. I went 2 of 3 yesterday on our spreads of Suns minus 5.5. That was the miss. We got Nuggets plus 4.5, and we also got Grizzlies money line against the Lakers. Tonight, we're taking Victor Wembanyama under 23.5 points, Rudy Gobert to have 12-plus rebounds, and Lauri Markkanen to have 3-plus three-pointers made. You can take my picks. You can take other picks, whatever you want, but make sure you download DraftKings, create an account, and when you do create an account, use promo code HEATCHAT to make sure you get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you play a $5 bet. Shout out to DraftKings for sponsoring the Heat Report. All right, now, is it time to give up on Nikola Jovic, the third-year forward out of Serbia, someone that I have been very high on? And if you have watched this channel in the past, over the past year and a half, you would know how much I like Nikola Jovic. But the fact of the matter is this. He has been terrible this season, just like Jimmy and Bam, only playing in 19.3 minutes. That's the concerning number right there, and we'll talk about more about his minutes in a second. But he has not taken a step forward through the first 7 games of the year. He's actually taken a step back in terms of his efficiency. He shot 39.9% from 3 last season. That is a full 9% less in the first 7 games of the year. He's shooting about 4 or 5% less from the field, and he did not improve his points per game whatsoever. And once again, he's averaging under 5 rebounds, which at 6'10", 6'11", we were hoping he was going to be the front court partner for Adebayo to add size and allow them to make sure you do not give second chance opportunities to opponents with Bam and Jovic using their height and length inside. That has not been the case. He's only averaging 3.9 boards per game. He has not improved at all. And this is heartbreaking for me to say this. It absolutely is. But Nikola Jovic is the same exact player that we watched last season. The one that didn't really get PT until halfway through the year. Only played in 43 games, playing about 17 to 19 minutes. Like, this is not what we thought was going to happen for Nikola Jovic. Everyone, including myself, expected him to take a step forward, play 25 to 30 minutes a game, be trusted by Erik Spoelstra, a third year in the NBA where he's more used to the speed. He bulks up in the offseason, gets better defensively, better on the glass. It has not happened. And look at the dwindling minutes for Jovic. I took out the first game of the year because it was the only game this season that was an absolute blowout for Miami, and the minutes are skewed. But in the last 6 games, he's played 30, then 13, 27, 23, and then in the last 2 games, he only played 12 minutes on Monday against the Kings, and he played 5 minutes yesterday against the Suns. He started the game, played the first 5 minutes. Spo realized he could not play because they could not guard KD with anyone, really, but they were putting Bam on KD to start the game and having Jovic on Nurkic inside. And Jusuf Nurkic owned you. He damn near had 20 points and 20 rebounds. He dominated you inside. Jovic couldn't hold his own, which means they had to go to Bam and Khalil Ware for the first time this season as your 2 main centers inside guarding Nurkic, which left Haywood Highsmith guarding KD at the 4. And I can't even be upset at that decision by Coach Spoelstra because Haywood Highsmith had 19 points on 7 of 8 shooting. Haywood Highsmith was your second best player last night behind Tyler Hero. Like, yes, you only lost by 3 points, but how many times am I going to say this, guys? You will never win a basketball game when Jimmy and Bam are not 2 of your top 3 players when you play good basketball teams. And the fact that your 3 best players last night were in order, Tyler Hero, Haywood Highsmith, and then you can make the argument for Duncan Robinson off the bench or Jimmy probably being there too, it's just disappointing. Specifically on Nikola Jovic, it's disappointing. I had high aspirations and expectations for this young man because I thought he could provide something Miami has not had in a long time, which is front court shooting, spacing, rebounding, and playmaking all in one player. I would not say he would be close to a Chris Bosh type, but he has a lot of the same similarities in terms of height and his ability to space the floor with his shooting as well as rebounding. But Jovic is too soft inside. He's not strong enough. He's not efficient enough. And we have to have a serious conversation if it's time to remove him from the rotation because the Heat took him out of the rotation yesterday and they played better. And now Highsmith isn't going to play like that every single game, but it's a conversation that we have to have with Kevin Love and Jaime Jaquez Jr. returning to this group because I don't know how you can take away Pelo Larson's minutes. I don't know how you could take away Haywood Highsmith's minutes after what we've seen from the two of them on Monday and Wednesday. Might be time for Jovic to go back to the bench and not really play that much. But is it time to call it on the young man from Serbia? Let me know. Type 1 for yes, type 2 for no. Let me know if it's time for Jovic to get the plug pulled on him. I don't know if they're going to do it, but I think a change has to be made to the starting lineup. And that's how I'm going to round out today's show. Now, this doesn't really include Jovic specifically. It just makes it as a whole. But I think this might be the best starting lineup Miami can roll out. And yes, we showed the stats earlier about them being a good first half team, and that isn't the issue with this ball club right now is how they're starting games. But this group might just be better together. And yeah, I saw some numbers today that Terry Rozier and Tyler Hero have been okay together in the backcourt this season, and Tyler Hero is actually like 100% more efficient and better offensively when he's sharing a backcourt with Rozier when in comparison to having it by himself. But with how good Pelo Larson has looked defensively and as a glue guy through his first two meaningful games of the season in this rotation, it's hard for me not want to put him out there because of how good he's been defensively, as well as making the extra passes, shooting, leveraging that pump fake into a drive to the rim, and he's had back-to-back games where he's at an and one. And then with Haywood Highsmith's performance last night, his defensive ability, sure, your size would go down in the front court, but you're gaining more size in totality, adding Larson to the lineup because he's 2 or 3 inches bigger than Terry Rozier and plays bigger than Terry, both on the glass and on the defensive end of the floor. This group might be a lineup that Eric Spoelstra thinks about tinkering with. This is what the starting five would look like if it's my opinion. This team needs to shake it up. It's clear that they don't have it right now, and maybe a change to the rotation and who's starting and who's coming off the bench is necessary. And it would also add a stronger bench to you because now you would have Jaime Jaquez Jr., Terry Rozier, and Nikola Jovic if you continue to play the young man, all coming off of the bench with Alec Burks, Duncan Robinson, and potentially Khalil Ware as your center moving forward. I don't know, man. I think I would make this change at the starting five. That'll do it for today's show. If you have any thoughts on the starting five or this basketball team or what Bill Simmons had to say, hit me up on Twitter at Nic_Rohloff, tweeting about the Heat every day and every game day with highlights, my initial takeaways as well. So go give me a follow over there.